That was the Young Women's Drumming Empowerment Project. Let's give them a big hand. With Kristen Arant as their leader, she's fresh back from Ghana. Welcome back, Kristen. It's wonderful having you here always. Thank you so much. She will be back the next time here. We have Eve Ensler is coming on the 24th of February. We invite you back to come for that very special event. Can you all hear me outside? Good. I'm so sorry we can't have enough room for everybody to be here, but thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for standing in the weather to be here. Thank you. The GOP is speaking about the fact that we have all the snow outside, therefore global warming is over. And I would have to agree, because our ice machine that hasn't worked for years is working now, so I know it's over. So global warming is not over, as you all know. And I just met someone from Maine earlier today who said that they've had the warmest winter they've had in a long, long time. We've gotten all the snow, so things are shifting. But thank you all for being here. I know this is a very special night. I wanted to first say a couple of words about our bookstore. Our bookstore, which is run by Teaching for Change, and the reason why the bookstore is important to mention tonight is because they received a fair amount of resources from someone who had studied under Howard Zinn and wanted to start an education project. You know, Howard was all about educating people because he believed that's where you start, in the classroom. He began his classes by saying you can't be neutral on a moving train. And he inspired this person to go out and provide enough resources for our bookstore and Teaching for Change to have 4,000 packets that have been distributed to middle school and high school teachers that teach history and social studies. The packets include a copy of People's History of the United States, a copy of People's Voices, and a copy of the DVD, Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. So these teachers will be learning all about this beautiful history. I met Howard actually taking a class that was offered by Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader offered a class for an institute for teachers of social studies and history teachers, and asked me if I wanted to be a part of that class, and I said absolutely. I went into the class, and Howard was there, and he spoke, and Lois Gibbs spoke, and a few other really interesting people spoke about how to teach history the right way. And Howard was there, and that's how I started my friendship with him, and we ended up having a wonderful friendship and correspondence over some time. So I have a couple of boxes of wonderful little letters and stories, and I want to read you a couple of them, if you don't mind. I have kids, and they were beginning to play soccer. And I had talked to him on the phone, so he sent me this letter in response. He said, "Dear Andy, it's good to hear from you. Yes, when your kids discover something like soccer," and he put discover in quotes, "as when Columbus discovered America, someone, the parents, of course, will suffer for it." So he also said, he said writing, and this was sort of a pre-setup for the TV series and the People Speak series that ended up being on there. He said, "I've done some writing." He said, "mainly a script for what is supposed to be a pilot program. Did I tell you about this? For a TV series based on people's history. It's really a long shot, but I've given an option to this cinematographer and documentary filmmaker in New York who thinks he can pull it off. We'll see. He only needs to raise $2 million, which I offered to give him, but he doesn't want laundered money." He said, "We should talk soon. We leave Wellfleet on Friday, so I'll be reachable at home by Saturday or Monday. Sunday is a wedding of friends at which, believe it or not, I have been asked to officiate. My first and last gig." Then he wrote something here. He said, and this is really hard to read. As you can see, this was written on this paper that fades, and this was written in '95. He said, "How are you? Roz and I think of you and Marjan from time to time and hope everything is going well for you. Roz is painting, are you? And I've been running around the country trying to start a revolution. It's only a matter of days. I've been in Oregon, California, Minneapolis, Rhode Island, Colorado, and next week I'm going to Pennsylvania and Texas. So he continued to start the revolution. And then he said here, this one other letter was written in 1997. He and I had worked on his play, Marx in Soho, and I got to know him through that, and he came back here several times to talk about the play, and he was so excited about this play. It's a play about Karl Marx coming back to clear his name, because the Soviet Union had given communism a really bad name, and he was here to be back, sort of sent from the heavens to clear his name in 1992. And he said, and we talked back and forth about this script, and he said, I made at least one change which should please you. He added, he said, do you remember how you were horrified at Jenny telling Marx to shut up? Jenny was Marx's wife. A woman in Iran would never say that, you pointed out. And we all know that Jenny was an Iranian. Well, she wasn't, so that was supposed to be funny. So he says, well, I've changed that, as you will see in the script. I've also cut down on the number of times shit appeared. I realized it was causing diarrhea. So this is the kind of humor that Howard had, and how I remember him. And the last time when we heard that he had died, it was passed to me in a note. In fact, we were on C-SPAN, as we are tonight. So thank you, C-SPAN, for covering this program. Thank you. They deserve an applause. The last time this happened, I was interviewing Phyllis Bennis, who had just written her newest primer on the war in Afghanistan. And someone slipped me a piece of paper at the end of the conversation, and I broke down and cried because I had just talked to Howard 2 days before that, and he was planning to be here on April 13th, and ended up to be that obviously that wasn't going to happen. And I was very shocked by the news. And C-SPAN, God bless them, as they record everything, they recorded the whole incident of me breaking down and the whole conversation that took afterwards. And it was just aired recently. So thank you again to C-SPAN for always being there for these types of programs. I'd like to bring up to the stage someone that most of you know. His close ties to Howard Zinn is he wrote A People's History of Sports. Just like People's History of the United States, much of that People's History of the United States sort of spent out a series of different books, including A People's History for Young People, A People's History for minorities, all kinds of stuff. In fact, there's A People's History for the people of Iraq that's actually being made right now. And so this has sort of spawned a whole bunch of types of books out of that first original book, People's History of the United States, which now has sold over 2 million copies and made the 4th bestseller for nonfiction on the New York Times bestseller list.